Judgment Sword. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another video, and today's video is going to be my thoughts and impressions regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 87, Chain Destruction. I gotta be honest with you guys, although the outcome of this duel was pretty much expected since we got the episode summaries and titles, I gotta admit this episode really did have me on the edge of my seat waiting to see the outcome of this duel, and I was really shocked that how far Spectre had come since the last time we've seen him duel way back in Season 1, and I also think they did a very interesting nod during this duel to some ancient times, but we'll talk about all of this soon enough. So at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins where we left off last week with a recap of last week's episode and Spectre's retake of the extra monster zone from Lightning, and then this week's episode, the conclusion of this duel finally kicks in, is Lightning praises Spectre, and we actually get a little bit more of Spectre's mind games, and this is really something I've enjoyed throughout this duel, is just Spectre taunting Lightning and Lightning taunting Spectre, their psychological warfare back and forth. It was really interesting, and it added some spice to this duel in my opinion. Lightning makes his move by regaining the cards he banished last turn, and we actually see I point out that this is the first time he's ever seen Lightning annoyed or showing any emotion for that matter, and it's then that Playmaker reminds I that Lightning lost Judgment Arrows and Spectre broke his extra link. You can't expect him to be calm right now. And I also then adds that he thinks it would be best if they both lose, in other words a draw, but ultimately he decides to cheer on for Spectre, and this is something that I find ironic. Everybody is cheering and rooting for Spectre here, even though he's a Knight of Hanoi. You would have never thought you would have seen this way back in Season 1, but again, this was just a nice little touch to show you just how things have come so far and how serious this is. So back to the duel, Lightning brings out his Link 3 Armatos Legatus Leonis, and this is the monster that beat Blood Shepherd way back in their duel, and he actually manages to use this monster to strengthen his defenses, but Spectre, undeterred, goes into this duel with another continuous Link summon, and he allows Thrasher to attack 3 times via his other Link monster's effect, and Thrasher's effect plus Judgment Arrows raises Thrasher's attack all the way up to 6,400. Lightning is able to stop this attack against Legionis twice, but ultimately is unable to save Legionis from destruction. However, he's able to reduce the damage that he's going to take from Spectre's attack to nothing. So even though he's not losing any life points, he is losing Legionis, and it's a heavy loss for him. So we see this. Legionis, of course, ultimately revives on Spectre's side of the field and attacks Lightning, bringing his life points down to 3,300, which is the first time we see Lightning take damage in this duel, and this actually is annoying Lightning. He's still angry about this. He's angry at Spectre. He doesn't care for his probing. He's still showing an emotion, which is something that goes throughout this entire episode, so I think this psychological warfare is getting to Lightning, and he really doesn't care for it. But back to the duel, and this is where things get interesting. We see Spectre pull off the extra link, something he's dreamed of achieving since he saw Playmaker versus Revolver at the Tower of Hanoi, because we learned that Spectre had rewatched that duel over and over again and dreamed of achieving this for himself, dreamed of being like his master Revolver, and it was something so beautiful. Even Spectre says that this is the most beautiful sight he's ever seen, and the fact that he was able to achieve it was just so great to him, and he even has to go as far as thanking Lightning for this. He even goes so far as to tell Lightning, this is the only thing I'm ever going to thank you for, and that is allowing this to happen. And then, before it is all said and done, we get something unbelievable. Spectre actually surpasses Revolver in strength, because Spectre is able for the first time to pull off something even Revolver couldn't do, and that is the Extra Link full mode. And he actually finishes the Extra Link full mode by Link summoning his ace monster Sun Avalon Dreanome. And so Lightning again is annoyed by this, he's angered by this, and we actually see Spectre complete his perfect field. He's still not done. He gives up Legionis and Sunseed Twin from his graveyard to revive Thrasher number 2, so now he's got 2 Thrashers, and Spectre just can't contain his excitement over his perfect field, as he calls it. And then we see Lightning show some more emotion in this psychological war game. Lightning is angry. He's finally had enough. Lightning basically says, You think that you know me. You don't know me. Don't act like you know me. And finally, Lightning just snaps at this point, and he goes on to call Spectre's perfect field just a tower on sand. And he reveals that he knew that Spectre was going to take judgment arrows from him. And Lightning declares that he is going to advocate divine judgment on Spectre by drawing a card, and it turns out to be Judgment Sword. It's a spell card, and basically what it does is it banishes Dreanome, which isn't immune to effects. And of course, you know how Spectre is about his beloved Mother Tree here. His beloved Mother Tree is destroyed, and if you guys remember way back from Season 1, that's never a smart thing to do, is to destroy Spectre's beloved Mother Tree. Spectre's angered by this, but Lightning is going to bring it back, but not before he's able to special summon Armatios Ligios Tribunus Militum. And basically this is a way to get around the extra link blocking his ability to link summon. And once this monster is special summoned, Dreanome returns to Spectre's field, and then we see it. Lightning link summons Link 4 Armatos Ligios Magnus Dux. And this is where this episode takes a reference to ancient times. I'm going to kind of off track here. I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, but not really, because this is very interesting to note. So Lightning's deck is based on the Armatios Ligios, which is pretty much a Roman style deck. You know, you have the whole Roman Colosseum, the gladiator thing, or the gladiator kind of thing here. It's ancient Roman. And the fact that Lightning's Link 4 Armatos Ligio Magnus Dux looks like a war elephant here was intriguing, because if you guys remember way back in world history class, if you haven't taken world history class, I'm going to kind of school you a little bit here. We see this happen before in ancient times. It's a reference to Hannibal, and he was a Carthaginian general, and he was famous for using war elephants against the Romans, and he was actually famous for marching his elephants through the Alps to attack Rome. So Hannibal, he was one of Rome's most fierce enemies way back in ancient times, one of their most formidable enemies. And the fact that they kind of do a nod here to Hannibal by giving Lightning's Link 4 here a reference to him is kind of very interesting in my opinion. So ancient world history lesson over. Let's get back to the video. So anyway, the duel goes on, and we learn about this new effect here, and it's actually a combo effect. Thanks to Militum and Magnus Dux, basically what Lightning is allowed to do is negate 4 card effects on Spectre's field, granting Lightning judgment arrows in return for this, because he's able to block Spectre's hold on judgment arrows, and thanks to Magnus Dux effect, judgment arrows returns to his hand. So Lightning regains judgment arrows, and this ultimately sets off chain destruction on Spectre's field, because when judgment arrows leaves the field, all monsters linked to it are destroyed. So everything is wiped out on Spectre's field except his beloved Mother Tree, Dreanome. And yeah, Dreanome is left there. Its effects are still negated, unfortunately, and it has 0 attack. And so Lightning is basically saying it's time to end this duel. He plays judgment arrows, and we actually see Magnus Lux deliver the final blow against Spectre, destroying Sun Avalon Dreanome with 6,000 attack points, and this just destroys Spectre. Spectre ultimately loses the duel, which, like I said, is pretty much the outcome everybody expected when we saw these episode summaries and previews. But Spectre loses the duel, much to the shock of the Knights of Hanoi, much to the shock of everybody, and Spectre's on the ground. He apologizes to Revolver for failing him, and Lightning comes up and actually banishes Spectre, but doesn't destroy him, because he tells Jin to wait, because even the weak can be of use to him. And that's the end of the duel. But that's not the end of the episode. We end up going back to Lightning's palace, where Wendy is, and Wendy is actually in the process of choosing the next victim, and that's where the episode leaves off. So like I said, everybody, this episode was really, really intense. Although the outcome of it was known, how they got to that outcome was really great. I really enjoyed this, being Spectre's first and likely his only duel in Season 2. They really went all out and pulled out all the stops for it, which I'm really happy they did. But yeah, and they also threw in that ancient Roman reference there too, which as a history nut, I got to admire, and I got to give them props for that. So with that being said, overall, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was a predictable duel, but how the duel was handled was great. It was great seeing Lightning showing some genuine emotion for once, and it was great seeing this psychological warfare game here between these two egos. It was great, I'm not gonna lie. With that being said, everybody, in the comment section down below, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.